Ladies and gentlemen, today marks a moment of significance in the political and judicial fabric of our nation. The United States Senate, in a weekend session charged with urgency and ambition, confirmed Jeanine Pirro, the former Fox News host and conservative firebrand, as the next U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia. In a deeply polarized chamber, the vote came down to strict party lines, 51-45. 4 senators, 2 from each party, Mitch McConnell of Kentucky and Roger Wicker of Mississippi among the Republicans, and Ruben Gallego and Peter Welch among the Democrats, were notably absent, leaving their voices out of this consequential decision. This confirmation is far more than a bureaucratic reshuffling. It is the culmination of a deliberate effort by President Donald J. Trump, in his second term, to solidify the legal backbone of his administration with fiercely loyal and publicly recognizable figures. Jeanine Pirro, no stranger to headlines or controversy, has already been serving in the role on an interim basis since May. Her path to this post, however, was anything but straightforward. It was only after Trump withdrew his prior nominee, Ed Martin, a figure whose open support for the January 6 Capitol rioters became too toxic even for some within the GOP, that Pirro was tapped for the role. The decision sent shockwaves through the political establishment. A media personality known for her unfiltered commentary and passionate defense of Trump, Pirro represented a bold, if divisive, choice for such a critical legal position. From the outset, her interim appointment drew fierce criticism from Democrats, legal watchdogs, and even some former federal prosecutors who questioned her prosecutorial neutrality and fitness for a role steeped in the sober administration of justice. Yet in conservative circles, the nomination was celebrated as a reaffirmation of Trump's unwavering commitment to shaking up entrenched institutions and installing figures who are ideologically aligned with his vision. As the weekend confirmation session unfolded, Senate Republicans moved swiftly and decisively. There was little room for hesitation. With the clock ticking on several other pending nominations, Pirro's confirmation was given priority, a clear signal of her importance to Trump's legal strategy. She now takes the reins of one of the most high-profile federal prosecutors' offices in the country, a jurisdiction that encompasses the very institutions she has long criticized from behind the Fox News desk. The District of Columbia is not just any legal territory. It houses the Capitol, the White House, the Supreme Court, and is the epicenter of virtually every significant federal investigation. The symbolic weight of this appointment cannot be overstated. Pirro's tenure promises to be anything but conventional. As someone who once presided over a courtroom in Westchester County and later over primetime cable television, she enters the role with a unique blend of judicial and media experience, and a reputation for fiery rhetoric. Supporters argue that her courtroom experience, albeit distant in time, combined with her legal education and public persona, equip her with a rare ability to navigate both the law and the court of public opinion. Critics, however, remain unconvinced. They warn that her history of partisan commentary and fierce loyalty to Trump could undermine the credibility of prosecutions, particularly those with political implications. They fear that the D.C. U.S. Attorney's Office, historically seen as impartial and essential to upholding the law without fear or favor, may become politicized under Pirro's leadership. But for now, those voices have been overruled by the power of a Senate majority. Trump's Republican allies stood firmly by their nominee, brushing aside Democratic objections and waving away warnings from legal ethicists. Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri, one of Pirro's most vocal supporters, praised her as a patriot and fighter who would not be intimidated by the deep state or media elites. Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas echoed similar sentiments, arguing that Pirro's tenacity was exactly what the office needed to root out what he described as decay in the justice system. Meanwhile, Senate Democrats launched a withering critique of the nomination during floor speeches. Senator Sheldon Whitehouse of Rhode Island called it an assault on the independence of the judiciary. Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey questioned whether Pirro, given her past statements on immigration, criminal justice reform, and race, could fairly represent the people of the district, a jurisdiction with a black majority population. The nomination hearings themselves were a spectacle. Pirro, unshaken and combative, sparred with Democratic senators who grilled her on her previous remarks about election fraud, her defense of Trump's legal troubles, and her statements about radical leftist prosecutors. She held her ground, often turning questions into campaign-style sound bites. She insisted that her critics were afraid of a strong woman who loves her country and enforces the law. And in the end, her performance seemed only to galvanize Republican support. Even some centrist Republicans who had initially hesitated fell in line, citing the importance of filling the post and ensuring continuity in federal prosecutions. The White House celebrated the confirmation with a brief but pointed statement. Jeanine Pirro is a fearless defender of justice and the rule of law. She will serve the District of Columbia with integrity, strength, and resolve. Outside the Capitol, reactions were mixed and deeply polarized. Progressive organizations decried the move as a corruption of the justice system, while conservative groups applauded it as another step toward draining the swamp. Legal scholars remain divided. Some believe Pirro will moderate her tone and adjust to the gravity of her new position. Others are less hopeful, predicting a surge in politicized prosecutions and a decline in public trust. Already, speculation is swirling about how Pirro might handle ongoing or future investigations tied to members of Congress, former officials, or Trump critics. Would she pursue those cases with impartiality? Or would her loyalties influence prosecutorial discretion? Those questions may soon become more than theoretical. The D.C. U.S. Attorney's Office is known for its involvement in high-stakes investigations, from corruption probes to election-related litigation. And under Pirro's command, it is likely to become a lightning rod for political scrutiny. For her part, Pirro remains unapologetic. In a short statement following her confirmation, she declared, "I have spent my life fighting for justice. I will not be intimidated. I will not be silenced. And I will not be stopped." She vowed to focus on crime, corruption, and restoring faith in the justice system. Whether that promise becomes a reality, or descends into another battleground of America's fractured political landscape, remains to be seen. But for now, Jeanine Pirro holds one of the most powerful prosecutorial posts in the country. A TV judge turned federal prosecutor. A voice of partisan fury now charged with nonpartisan justice. Her journey from cable news to courtroom power is complete. And Washington, once again, finds itself at the center of a